Okay, so Reid Olson. All right, so yeah, let's just get into the conversation. So you were saying, just ask the question you asked me.
What the fuck did I ask? All right, what kind of person do you usually interview?
Okay, well, like normally I'm interviewing like FBI, CIA, YouTubers, Instagram influencers, TikTokers, like like as big as of a range as you can get. Like I've interviewed so many different people. Just today I had on a guy who interviews hackers, and he has like 300,000 on YouTube. Um, but yeah, I mean, you were talking about the CIA guy. You're like, how can this guy say all this stuff?
Oh yeah. Like when I was watching that episode, I was like, it feels so classified. Like all of that stuff feels like I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've never heard it before, but it seems so. It seems like I'm not supposed to hear it. You know.
What guy was it? I actually might be able to figure out who you're. Did you see the guy? Like, was he on video or?
Yes. I saw him.
Okay, because there's the guy Bill Holstein. Then there's Rick Hotchner. There's like, because a lot of the guys that are FBI and stuff are older. This is the guy
Yeah,
have white.
he was a little older. Let's see. Oh, I'm doing a bad job of finding it. Oh yeah, it was Bill Holstein.
Yeah. Okay. So this guy, that guy, he wasn't in the government. So he was a journalist and he studied how the Chinese basically infiltrated like US national security and stuff for the past 40 years actually, I think. It's super fascinating, super interesting. But yeah, I mean, I speak to like a lot of CIA guys. Although, I do interview YouTubers and influencers and stuff like that, and I'm interviewing you. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, I'm Reid Olson. As I make videos, is my official label. I dropped out of college because I slept in class a lot, and I didn't really think I was going to get much out of it. So I dropped out to go into business, make videos, and now I'm just documenting the progress. I mean, documenting the journey. It's we're still in the startup phase, and I think I'll be in the startup phase probably for the next year, 2 years, honestly, which is the scary part. But that's okay because I think the fact that I blew up kind of early in the journey is good because I feel like a lot more people will see it, and so it's tough, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I found you on Instagram. I don't know if I found you through a reel or if I found you through like a follower list. Because sometimes I find some, I guess, just through a follower list where I look at it and I'm like, all right, this guy, he seems cool. Let me reach out to him. Which I do that a lot. So I might have found you through there, or I did find you through your reels. In either case, though, you have over 113,000 followers on Instagram, and okay, I think I found you through a reel. So, and I've seen some of your reels just come up before, right? And I think I even have a friend. Her name is Tiffany Fong, who follows you. She's like a journalist who interviewed like Sam Bankman-Fried before he went to prison.
Wow,
What?
that's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. I didn't expect that she would follow you. She's like a friend of a friend. She was actually on my buddy Julian's show. But what's it called? So one of the posts that actually caught my eye was the 16-year-old you and the now currently version of you.
Mm-hmm.
So explain that.
Okay, so when I was 16, I was 220 pounds, and then like COVID happened, and I gained 45 pounds because I got super into baking, cooking, because I was always a big chef, right? So I put on a fuck ton of weight over COVID. I didn't exercise, I didn't do anything, right? So I went from 220 and like 6 foot to 265 and 6 foot. It's pretty chunky. And that picture of me that's on my Instagram is me at pretty much my heaviest, right? And so the second picture, actually when I was 18, that was like it's 2 years ago, and that's still pretty early into my lifting career. But one day it just got so bad when I was fat that I was afraid to weigh myself. I remember being afraid to weigh myself. There's a picture in my Snapchat memories. There's a picture of the scale that says I'm afraid, right? So that was visceral. Like I live that still. Like I relive that. And I remember looking in the mirror and I was just like, okay, like this is enough. Like this is I'm finally done with this shit. And so then I mean, people are gonna get mad about this, and nobody likes hearing this. But realistically, I'm pretty sure this is the way most people who've lost a lot of weight have lost weight. I would just like fast for like 2 or 3 days at a time, multiple times a month. I mean, there were like I lost 80 pounds, like 6 months. So there were multiple months where I just didn't eat for like 15 days, and whether or not that's healthy, I don't really give a shit because I don't want to be fat. And also I think fasting is actually pretty good for you. But um, yeah, that was, and then I started working out and then into lifting, and about a year and a half into my lifting journey, that second picture was taken, which is way more shredded than I am now. I'm chunkier now, but that's okay. It's just bulking season.
Yeah, well, your point about people that are heavier fasting to lose weight is a very true statement, considering that, I mean, I don't know how many times I've told this story. I don't like telling stories on repeat because I know I always do that on the podcast where it's like,
Tell your
I meet
story.
somebody
I've never
different.
heard it.
Yeah. Well,
None
yeah.
of my
So,
audience. Tell your story.
yeah. So, basically, freshman year, I'm like 185, and then summer hits, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do something really cool. I'm just gonna fix this, and I fixed it by drinking like one vegetable shake a day or two a day, and that would be my food. And it would just be like this like paste basically of vegetables. And I could tell you're laughing too. It is funny because like I would drink it and I would juice too, and that would be my food for the entire day. So I was getting nutrients. It wasn't like I was fasting like you were, but I was getting food technically. I was pooping like 5 times a day. Which I don't know. Like I guess that's kind of healthy. But I ended up losing 35 pounds in 2 months. So, and that's all I needed. And yeah, I mean now I'm back to like 170, but it is what I'm not heavy, right? I'm not like to a point where I'm like so upset with myself and I can't look myself in photos because that's a terrible feeling. Because like I was getting to a point where I would see like a picture of myself, not even shirtless, and I would just be like, I can't, you know. Hello?
Yep.
Yeah. No,
Awesome.
you cut out.
Continue.
No, what'd you say? You cut out. You're frozen.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just listening to you. You were talking about losing weight, and I mean, I only cut out like 8 seconds ago. So whatever story you were telling, just
Yeah.
keep telling it.
I was just saying yeah, no, it was just getting to a point where I was like I couldn't look at myself in photos. Not even like shirtless. I was just like and I'm like I would just see my face and I'm like, that's not good. And
Yeah.
then I got to the exact opposite extreme where I'm like, I like myself in photos. But and now I'm 170, but I'm also much taller too, so it's different. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's a very important journey for a lot of people to go down.
And you're a junior in high school?
Yes, I am currently.
Wow. Dude, I wish I started as a junior in high school. That's awesome. Like genuinely.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of
Well, how old are
course.
you?
I'm 20.
Okay, so you're only 3 years older than me.
Yeah, no, not crazy,
Yeah.
but I mean, I only started when I was like, I really started the self improvement and like self development stuff that you're getting into. I assume have already been into. You're already starting shit. So I only started that when I was 18. Yeah, I was about to turn 19, and then that's when I started. So I've only really been doing this for like a year and a half.
Yeah. Well,
So
my
like,
main thing is yeah.
go for it, please.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've always, I got like more into it like my sophomore year. I was super duper into it, but now I'm like, priorities have changed a little bit too. Like I'm always kind of working on content, for whatever, like all the time. And I'm always interviewing people that it's like I'm a fan of. And I say this all the time. It's a super cool feeling. And I've said this like 50 million times, but it's a super cool feeling to be able to interview people that you have, seen online. And then you're like, hey, I know that guy now. And he follows you on Instagram and he likes your story sometimes. Sometimes he comments on your videos too.
Oh,
Some more than others. Like there are some guests I keep in very close contact with, but yeah. So more about your content though. Now, another pin post that you have is I lost followers for my first 300 videos. Today I gained 100 followers. It's not that much, so on and so forth. Explain that post.
so I started posting on April 4th of 2022. And my first 400 posts, I lost followers, as it said. 300 videos, 400 posts. And finally, at like post 425, I posted something that someone who I knew from high school didn't like. And they didn't like it enough where they were like commenting on it. And, you know, it was controversial enough where it got like 4 comments, which was a lot for my shit, pretty quickly. And then it like started to catch more and more traction. And apparently it was also a good video because that one went to like 3 million. And then the next video went to like 4 million. The next video went to like 5 million. The next video went to like 3 million. It was like 28 videos in 2 months that just went like to the moon viral. And that first day, the day I posted that, we just started to kick off, and 100 followers felt like I had finally broken through. I was like, okay, like made a tiny bit of progress. It felt like a ton of progress because it took 8 months to get those 100 extra followers, you know? It felt insane. But then I had 1,000, right? That didn't feel like much. It felt about like 100, you know? Then I had 10,000 like the next day. And that, even though it was like 100 times what I was like so shocked about, you know, I was shocked about 100, I got to 10,000. Didn't really feel like anything. 2 days I got to 20,000. 3 days I got to 30,000. In like a week I got to 50,000. I was like, every single time it just kept going up, and I was like, I just don't like, it doesn't feel like anything. It doesn't feel like anything. And then I actually got pretty like sad about it because I thought it was going to feel really good because I put all this work into it up front, and then it didn't really, like, I didn't feel it because it's numbers. Like, it is people, and I, you know, it's like important to look at it as people because you are influencing people, but like at the end of the day, you only see the numbers on the screen, and you really only see the fucking hate comments, you know. But no, it was very interesting. It was not something I'm used to because like you adjust to the growth speed, not to the number, because you just like your mind changes, like your standard changes as soon as you meet your goals, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I have yet to reach 100,000, so I mean, I'll tell you how it feels when I do. But you know, I guess it's different for everybody because some people like they reach certain goals and they're like, "This is awesome. This is the most amazing thing ever." Like Wendigoon. I don't know if you know who he is, but he has like 3 million on YouTube now. But he was telling, not me. I was gonna say he's telling me, but I was thinking of somebody else. But he was talking at one point on a show. He's like, what it was like reaching 1 million views on one of his videos, and he's like, "This is awesome." He's like, "This is such a cool thing." But I guess it's different for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know why I didn't really feel it. Honestly, I guess. It's like, I guess it's kind of. It was cool when it was happening, just because it was new. But I've just like I guess I've just adjusted to it. Like it's not that special for me anymore. You know, it's like that, and I think once I hit that, that just stopped being the goal. It was like my account started to grow, and I was like, okay, this is just gonna happen. Like my brain told me, it's like, okay, this is just gonna happen. Like we need to find another goal because we already hit that one. You know, the goal was grow, and we started to grow. So it's like, but you know, it's I don't know. I don't know. It's like I don't I don't know why I didn't feel it, but I just know that I did, and it was like it was cool to hit 100 because I broke through, and then I stopped giving a shit.
Well, you moved the goalpost, right? Like
Thank you.
you moved forward, and you got used to one thing, and now you're going somewhere else. You're like, you know what? Let me do the next thing. Yeah,
True.
and that's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's I will say it's like the same inputs for the new goal. But the or like the new, I guess, vision. But I think I've realized like the views are great, and like likes and comments, I guess, make your post do better, and like follower count looks good. But honestly, it's like it's become much more about the influence. Like I've realized it's like, okay, you actually want to change the world, if you actually want to change how people live their lives, if you actually want to change how people see the world, you actually want to make a difference, you can try to talk to people one on one, or put on protests or stuff, or get people to vote, as we've seen how effective that is. Or you can go the social media route, right, and actually build a following of people who identify with you, who relate to you, who look up to you, or who look down on you, because people fucking hate follow you, but you still have influence with them, right? And you get all these people who have some kind of tie to you, because that's the only reason they follow you, is because they empathize with you, right? And I don't know, that it's become much more about the change that I realize that you can actually make for me than like just a number or making money, or because when you get to a certain point like of followers, you can snap your fingers and make money. It's like people just try to pay me to talk to me now, and most of the time I'm like, well, I don't think I can answer that question for you, so I'm not gonna, like, I'm just not the guy for this, but you can snap your fingers and turn it into money. So it's not really about, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm fucking poor and I don't want to be fucking poor, I want to be rich, but I'm realizing that that's going to come at some point, and it's like, that's to make that the goal, I think will be, I'll hit it and then I'll just stop. So I don't think that's the goal I want to have.
Well, most people chase money rather than a passion or a purpose, unfortunately, right? Like people always want the end goal. People are obsessed with results, right? Where they want to be sitting in front of a yacht that they own, that they control, and to live in Fiji for the rest of their life, bragging about it to all their friends. That's most people's dream, or at least some version of it. There's probably some difference, but people are very obsessed with results. So when it comes to, I want money, I want whatever, people are very obsessed with the destination, not really the journey of how to get there. That's why when there's a get rich quick scheme of, hey, do this thing on Shopify and you'll make $100 million, which I'm sure we've all seen. When that happens, people look at it and they go, wait, this means I don't have to do work. And most people can't keep up with working 7 days a week in order to accomplish their goals, unfortunately.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, you said most people
Yeah.
can't keep up with.
I was going to say most people can't keep up with like working 7 days a week, for example, or 6 days a week or whatever to accomplish their goals. And that's fine. But like people also have unrealistic expectations for the work they're putting in.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I do think people are obsessed with results, or I don't know. I think people think they want results, because I thought I wanted results in the beginning. Like when I started out, my goal was I wanted to make enough money to retire early. And I was like, a few $1,000,000 by the time I'm like 28 or something. And then, you start to realize that people die pretty quickly after they retire if they don't have anything to do. It's like, okay, well, that looks terrible. Like maybe I don't want to retire. And then you kind of realize how much money a lot of money is. Because at the beginning, I thought I was like 10K a month. That's so much money. Like that's money you can do whatever you want with. $10,000 a month, that's freedom. And then I saw someone making 100,000 a month. I was like, what? You can do 100,000 a month? That's $1,000,000 a year. And I saw someone making $1,000,000 a month. I'm like, no, like that can't be possible. There's no way there's someone doing $12,000,000 a year. And then you see Hormozy is doing like 50 million a month, 80 million a month. It's like, oh, okay. So there just aren't limits. You can do however much you want to do a month, as long as you're willing to put in the insane amount of work that's required to get those big numbers, right? But I think people are obsessed with results because it's all like, obviously it's all ego. Like I definitely used to be there, and it's like, I don't know. It sucks to see that, honestly, because I don't have money, but I do have a fair amount of followers, and I know that getting those followers, which is definitely like a status thing, like 100,000 followers, it's a fair amount of status. I'm not trying to say I'm super status, but like it's a fair amount. It feels like fucking nothing, and it doesn't make you happy. and you feel like I feel very little accomplishment. I feel no fulfillment from it. Like it doesn't change me at all. It fucks with you and it makes you stronger, but it doesn't change who you are. It just like strengthens it, or it beats the shit out of you. But I think people think it's gonna like change how you feel. But if you can't be happy broke, you're not gonna be happy rich. Like,
Yeah, well, there's a saying, if you're not happy with what you have, you're not going to be happy with what you're going to get. My uncle told me that one. But that because and it is fair because I think it was Jordan Belfort who said this, Wolf of Wall Street. He's like, money doesn't really change who you are; it just magnifies who you are. So whatever insecurities or egotistical, whatever flaws you have as a person will be multiplied. Granted, some good things might be multiplied as well, but chances are a lot of your flaws are going to be very multiplied because now you have the means to fix them, right? So by whatever means you think that you can.
yeah, no, I mean, I don't think honestly, I think it's being pretty dispelled. I don't think it's like many people are being lied to anymore. It's like the news isn't really even trying to lie anymore. It's just saying the truth and people don't care, Like less things are trying to people are trying to hide shit less now, especially with social media because they kind of realize they can't. Like the truth is going to come out. And so I think it's less like I think more people talk about the fact that if you like getting money or getting women or getting followers or whatever isn't actually going to make you that fulfilled. It's not really going to have an impact on you. But I think it's just like it's so easy to sell that. It's so easy to say if I'm selling a course on how to get 100,000 followers, I'm like, hey, buy this course that's going to get you 100,000 followers. You'll make a bunch of money. You'll feel better about yourself. It'll fix your marriage. That's really easy to sell. Everyone's like, okay, yep, I'll buy that. But the only thing it would do is maybe get you results on social media. Like it wouldn't solve anything. Like you can't. I don't know. I think people try to fix so many like inside problems, like with things that have nothing to do with the inside. It's like if you're not working out, poor, and you're depressed, poor, you have a shitty body, poor, these things are probably going to translate to when you're rich. Like if you can't figure your shit out when you're at the fundamental level, how the fuck do you think you're going to figure it out when you're at the top? I mean, I literally experienced this because like I was not reliant on results when I started making content. Like it took 400 fucking posts. Like I was not reliant on posts. It took a long ass time. And then I blew up and I got so much of that reinforcement at once, like 100,000 followers in 2 months. It was fucking crazy for me. I was fucking 20 years old. It's the most success I've ever seen in my life, for me. And I thought I was strong, but I didn't have the skill of detaching myself from that and not attaching my worth to the growth and to the success. And so when I grew really fast and I started to slow down, I fucking lost myself, honestly. Like everything just crumbled because I had my self-worth so tied in to my success and the fact that my account was growing. But it's just because I didn't know, like I didn't have the skill of divorcing my self-worth from my follower count, which now I do. And you have to learn that. But if you can get pretty fucked up if you don't have a strong foundation and you build stuff on top of it.
So let me ask you this because this feels like a story kind of as old as time. Like you have this big enormous goal, whether it be money or status or fame, whatever, and you reach it, and then it's not really what you wanted. Like that's kind of what you discovered. You're like, this isn't really what I wanted. So what did you want? Like in a way, like what do you think you really wanted?
So I've actually never known what I wanted to do. Since I started making content, I had no idea. Since I started college, I had no idea. In high school, at one point I thought I wanted to be a politician. Now, if I was a politician, I'd kill myself, honestly. It was like I jumped from this thing to this thing to this thing to this thing, and I just never had any idea what I wanted to do. And honestly, I would say I still don't. I still have very little plan for where my life is going to go. The only reason I chose content is honestly because Hormozy said it would make me a lot of money. He was like, it's way easier to grow a business if you have a bunch of reach to be like, hey, come work for me. Hey, come work for me, to 100,000 people. And I don't know shit about business. I mean, I guess I know some, right? Not a lot. But I know a lot about content now, and I knew how to make videos before. So I was like, okay, I'll just do this, and I'll just do a ton of this until it works. And then when it works, maybe the path will get clear. And the path has gotten clear, but I don't know what I wanted. I mean, I know I wanted. I've never known what I wanted, and I figured it'd be easier to like figure out where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do with my life if I didn't have a money constraint. So the plan was like, do the thing that makes the absolute most amount of money until I know what I want to do. But so, like more and more every day, the thing that I want to do is becoming the thing that makes a lot of money. Like I like making content now. I like making content now. I'm sure when I get better at business, when I start printing money at some point, figuratively printing money, I'll start to like business more. And so, I mean, it's just, I think where a lot of people get it wrong is like, they want to pick right. And they don't want to pick the wrong thing, and they don't want to climb the wrong mountain. But you kind of have to be willing to climb the wrong mountain, because otherwise you won't be able to see anything, right? Because you don't have a good view from the valley. So I mean, if I could go and like talk to my 17-year-old self when he was not making up his mind, I'd be like, dude, you just have to pick one. Doesn't matter what the fuck you pick. You can pick finance, you can pick content, you can pick business, you can pick management, you can pick anything. Pick one and do a shit ton of work on it and get really good at it. And then when you have the vantage point to see where you want to go, then you choose. But honestly, the more you do that one thing and the better you get at that one thing, the more success you see in that one thing, the more the path just opens itself up, in my experience, at least.
So now you like making content. Now you would say that that's your purpose.
Yeah, I mean, because I got good at it, like, or I guess better. I don't know if I'm good yet, but better for sure. Like, it sucks when you're bad at it. Like, when I look at my first videos, I literally can't look at my first videos. They're too hard to watch because they're just painful to watch. One, because of my delivery. Two, because of the lack of structure. And three, because they just suck. Like, they're super highly edited. The captions are like bouncy and they have glow and there's like different colors and so many things flying across the screen. It's just painful. Like, it's just painful to watch. I genuinely hate watching my old videos. And I hated making them, honestly. And every like week I would look back and I'd be like, that's such a cringy video. That's such a cringy video. And that hasn't changed. I still do that. I do that, I would say, every like 3 days. I look back and I'm like, that video is cringy as fuck. But you learn, right? And that just kind of means you're learning. So it's like, you got to be willing to make the mistakes in the short term to get the long-term shit. I hope, because I'm making a lot of short-term mistakes. But it's worked so far.
So what would you recommend people to do that you didn't do? Like what would you have learned from your mistakes that you would recommend people to avoid or to do?
It's never that deep. Like whatever you think, because I mean, I could give content specific advice or I could give fitness specific advice, but I think like one thing that has been true for me in every single aspect of my life, like every time I'm unhappy, no matter if it's in fitness, if it's in content, if it's in business, if it's in relationships, if it's with my diet, anytime I'm unhappy, it's literally always because I think I'm way more important than I am. And I convince myself, like, it's just because I convince myself that I, like, whatever's happening to me is important and matters, or whatever I'm going through is important and matters and, like, is a big deal. When in reality, it's like, it's happening to so many other people. There's no way it's that important. Like, there's no way that I'm that special, because everybody has anxiety and everybody has fear and everybody's fucking terrified, especially if they're growing. The people who say they aren't terrified aren't trying anything new. They're not pushing themselves. I'm sure you know what it's like. Like, when you're giving it your all, it's fucking terrifying. It's fucking terrifying. And the only time I get sad about it being terrifying is when I convince myself that it's like, it's bad that it's terrifying. Because really it just is. It doesn't matter. It just is.
Right. So there's a lot, to unpack. But so where do you see yourself in like 10, 25 years even?
25, 10, 20, or 5. I think, well, I'm sure I'll keep making content. I'm not in this for years. I'm in this for decades. So worst case scenario, it'll work in 10 years. Absolute worst case scenario, it'll work in 20. And I think for the impact that I want to have and the change that I want to make in the world, I definitely have to come at it with a 20-year approach, right? And where I see myself in 20 years, I don't know. I mean, hopefully I'll have a family. Hopefully I don't think I'll have it figured out. I don't think I'll feel like I have it figured out because I mean, I'm only like a year and a half in, but I've never felt like I had it figured out. And I think it's kind of foolish to expect that, for me at least. Like anxiety and confusion has been a constant in my life. And so I don't see any reason why that would change. And I don't know. It'd be nice to make money. I think if I was like in 20 years, if I had more than enough money to do whatever the hell I wanted with it, like buy businesses, invest in shit, programs, donations, anything like that, that would be fire. But I don't really know. I mean, I'm sure I'll just keep doing the shit I'm doing. I'll probably get more jacked. I'll probably make more money. I'll probably have more followers. Like I'll probably have a better family or a family at all. It's nothing specific. It's just like got to keep doing the things.
What's something, if you have anything that you would want to recommend to young people?
I mean, if I could say like one thing to people who are younger than me, it would probably be fear isn't bad because you're gonna have it no matter what. And if you label it as bad, it's like it's just gonna fuck you up because you're gonna have it no matter what. So you might as well label it as good. Like if you're afraid, it kind of means you're doing the right thing. Because oftentimes the things that are hard are fucking terrifying because you've never done them before, and that's the only way you grow. And like I said, the people who aren't afraid aren't growing, and they're not trying, and they're staying comfortable, right? I don't think there's not much. I don't think there's anything wrong per se with comfort, but I think you can't expect to grow and be comfortable at the same time because to grow you have to do things that are uncomfortable. And just like it's never that deep. Like it's never as bad as you think it is. As long as you're alive, you have something to be grateful for. And most people have families, and if you don't have families, you have yourself. Like you are alive if you're listening to this. So at the very least, that's what we have to be grateful for. It's never as bad as you think. It can be bad. It's never as bad as you think.
Now, moving away from the deep subjects, right, into something a little bit more funny, your follower list. So you follow exactly 157 people on Instagram, right? As a matter of fact, I'm looking at it right now. Now, some of which we follow, some very obscure accounts, right, mutually. Such as what?
Which one? So I'm curious.
So number one that I noticed was Alex Moldovanos, which I forgot I follow this guy. He is the head of production for Iman Gadzi. Is there a story behind that? Have you spoken to this person, or is it somebody you just follow?
No, I was at this video convention or I guess video workshop in Florida. I met these two Peruvian guys who were hella cool. I fuck with them. They were actually two of my favorite people I've met. They were both my age, super cool. And we were just talking about like some of our favorite influencers like Hormozy, Chris Williamson, all them. And he's like, "Do you know Alex Moldovanos?" And I'm like, "No, who is that?" And he's like, telling me about him. And so I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll check him out." And so I followed him, and that's basically the whole story behind him. I mean, I like Iman a lot. Like, who the fuck doesn't like Iman? So, like, if Alex Moldovanos says if he's part of the team, obviously he's a respectable guy. Iman's not going to work with a piece of shit.
Well, another account is get_off_IG_daily. That's not that obscure anymore. It has like more than 500,000 followers. But I recommend everybody watch it because sometimes I'll literally be scrolling through and then it'll come up and I'm like, you know what? This account is right. And I'll just close Instagram.
Same. No, he's right every time, bro. That account is clutch as fuck. I remember when I think I followed him at like 20 or 30K. He was a little bit smaller, but yeah, no, he's fucking skyrocketed. He's gotten like 500K in like 2 months. Crazy. It's crazy how fast these accounts grow.
It is. So have you actually, okay, here's another question. Have you interacted with many other influencers or big people?
Yeah, I've interacted with two. Well, okay, well, actually, this is fucking hilarious. She blocked me, so I can say this. This girl with 1 million followers, which is the biggest account I've ever interacted with by far. This girl with 1 million followers, she's like a model. She had like 8 posts. It wasn't really clear to me how she was famous. I think she bought her followers, but she had 1 million followers, and she DM'd me, and oh shit, no, she unsent all the messages. But I somewhere in my phone, I believe I have a screen recording of everything else. I'll send it to you if I can find it because it's so fucking funny. She was like hitting on me in the beginning, and I was not really reciprocating because I'm like, I don't date from Instagram. Like, that's not what I do. And then she's like hitting on me again, and I'm like, yeah, cool. And then I was like, quick question, why are you famous? Like, how in the world are you famous? Because it didn't really seem like she did anything. Like, I might be an asshole, but it just didn't seem that way. I mean, she was like, I guess if you're a model, it's like, you know, you can just be pretty. But even that, I feel like that doesn't really work on social media anymore. Like, the bar is high, unless you're like fucking gorgeous, but you got to have some kind of personality, you know? And she's like, oh, I have photographer friends. Like, I have really talented friends who just take good pictures of me, good videos of me, and they put them online and they do really well. Like 1 million followers from 7 posts, and none of which have over like 2 million views. I don't know about that. But anyway, so we kept talking, and then she said something like really suggestive, and I was like, I'm sorry, like I'm not looking for anything. Like I don't date through Instagram. Like, no, thank you. Like, I appreciate that, and no hard feelings, but like not looking for it. And then she just got like so fucking angry. She's like going off on me about, she's like, you piece of shit. My father would be so disappointed if he knew I was trying to fuck someone like you. I'm like, I don't even think we live on the same continent. Like, what are you talking? Like, you think I can afford a plane ticket? Like, no. And she was just like so mad at me. And I'm like, I actually think I responded with wife material. But she said all that, and then she just unsent everything and blocked me, which is kind of a bummer because it was a hilarious conversation to read. But that was
it somebody.
Yeah,
was somebody I would know?
Huh?
Was it like somebody I would know? Like,
no. I have no idea. Like, who I've never heard of her before. I haven't heard of her since. She's not really like in any of the spaces that we're in at all. I don't. I mean, I'll text you who it was. I'm not going to say who it was. Duh. But other than that, I mean, normal interactions. I've interacted. Do you know Brandon Grogan?
no, I do not.
Okay. He's a great storyteller, like terrific storyteller. I've messaged him a few times. He's cool. Very genuine guy. I mean, he is exactly, I mean, at least in the conversations that I've had with him, he acts exactly the way he's portrayed in his videos. He's very relaxed, just very like down to earth, legit guy. He's cool. And actually, do you know Josh Zuba? He has a very interesting take on self-development in the whole industry. He looks at it as more of like character building and story building, like in being the protagonist of your own life rather than just like self-developing to self-develop. He's a really cool guy, like really cool guy. He reached out to me, and I'm interviewing him in 2 days, which I'm fucking excited for. I mean, he's just like such an awesome guy, just super genuine, like very down to earth, and very like extremely responsibility driven. Like, he cares about influencing people. He doesn't give a shit about the number. He's a really cool guy. And then I also talk with this guy named MDF Rogue, he's like a D&D gym account, and I like both of those things. So I mean, he's a really genuine guy too. He's fucking cool. So yeah, that's about it though. Honestly, I don't really interact with many influencers.
Yeah, well, I mean, like that's kind of like the opposite of what I do, because I'm like, talking to people all the time of like, hey, let's make this video together, and usually the guys, they're always awesome. I don't think I've ever said this before, but I don't think I've ever had like somebody that I had on and I'm like, I never like this person was terrible. I've never had that, right? Everybody I've had on, I have some type of kinship with, Well,
Yeah.
even no matter how small, like, some I do like a lot more than others. I will say that, some I definitely look back on and I'm like, that guy was super cool. And then there's other people that are like, that guy was okay. But I'm
Yeah.
never going to look back at somebody that I had on and be like, that guy was awful. Like, and if I did, I probably wouldn't say it publicly, to be fair, too.
Oh yeah, duh.
Well, another account that you do follow, and a lot of people follow this account, is not Tristan Tate. And
Yeah,
I
so
don't
I
know.
don't. I'll go for it. Go for it.
I don't know if that's considered an obscure account. I mean, I follow him, but like he has 2 million followers, almost 1.9. His brother, or well, it's not Tristan Tate. So his brother, not Cobra Tate, back when he had his Instagram account up. I don't know why only Tristan's is up though. That's interesting. But yeah, no.
I mean, yeah, I personally, I feel like I I feel so sad when I think about like Andrew Tate because I feel like 90%, even 95% of the shit he said was like really good and like genuinely good advice, and it was golden and it was fairly understanding and it was delivered in a pretty aggressive way, but it worked, right? And like it worked for some people, and I don't think he was a net negative in the world. But there's like the 5% of what he was saying was magnified so loud, and it was not great. Like, to be honest, like there are some things he says that, especially taken out of context when he's like being sarcastic, and they get blown the fuck up. I think that it's like a really loud minority that kind of just destroyed his whole brand, which sucks because a lot of the things he was saying were legit, and then it kind of invalidates those things. Like everybody loves to reference the clips where he's talking about like being abusive to women, which I would say is I feel like usually he's joking, but also like maybe don't talk about being abusive to women. But nobody talks about the clip where he's like he says something that is like he's like with all the girls I've been through over the last like 15 years, if I was just with one, I'd be 10 times richer than I am now. Nobody fucking talks about that clip. Like, and there's other shit like that, but like I think it sucks because he had I think overall a very strong message, and it was just tarnished by a little bit that was really bad and then blown the fuck up. And as for Tristan, I mean, I think Tristan's a little bit smarter about it, and I think he's a little more reserved, which is good because I think if there were two Andrews, it would kind of like their dynamic wouldn't be that compelling, But I mean, I think they're fucking funny. Like some of the shit they say is it's genuine. I mean, it's like hilarious when Andrew talks about fucking how high blood pressure just means you're supercharged. Obviously joking, but it's fucking hilarious.
Would you ever what's it called? Would you ever, if you were offered in person to meet them or you were offered to interview them, would you do so?
Oh, I mean, 100%. I think they're super interesting. I mean, I don't agree with them on everything, but I respect them because they say what they think, and they have strong opinions. I mean, and like strong beliefs from experiences. I mean, I think you can I mean, the only reason I wouldn't interview someone is if I thought I would get canceled, but like my followers are not idiots. Like they're rational. They understand that if you interview someone, it doesn't necessarily mean you are that person. And I think they have interesting things to say. And I mean, there's things that they say that I absolutely don't agree with, and we can just not talk about those things. Or just like, what I don't care about that shit. Like nobody like have your own beliefs, But I think they're very interesting.
Do you what's it called? Okay. Would okay. So you said you were going to be interviewing somebody tomorrow, I think you said.
Yeah,
So
2 days. Yeah.
how is that going to work? Is that going to be up on YouTube or
Yeah. I'll put it on YouTube and Spotify. It's probably going to be a few weeks till it's out, just because I want to get like a bank of episodes before I start uploading stuff. But I mean, I'm basically starting what you're doing, also but mine's going to be more focused towards influence and storytelling.
right? Yeah, well, I mean, you already have 2.24 thousand subscribers on YouTube. So
Yeah, YouTube's by far the shrimpiest platform, but we're getting there.
yeah, well, that's for a lot of people because like there's some guys I have on that have like ridiculous numbers of followers on Instagram, like 200,000, 394,000, and then you go to their YouTube and it'll be like 1,000, or it'll be 500 in some cases. Usually it's like in the low thousands, but that happens though. I mean, if we're talking like platforms where followers are the most valuable, I don't think I've ever had this conversation, but it's probably Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah, it's Instagram. It's because YouTube is really good for views and you can sell shit on YouTube, absolutely. But they found that TikTok is really good for low ticket offers, like $5, $10, $20 things. Instagram is really good for high ticket shit. So if you're gonna sell $1,000 product, a $10,000 product, you got to do it on Instagram. And I'm sure you could do it on YouTube. I don't really know YouTube that well, but between like Instagram, Snapchat, and YouTube and TikTok, Instagram is by far the best to have to monetize.
Well, I think YouTube is the best for like a fan base. Like if you want a very loyal group of like fans that are gonna, that really care and aren't just because it's also different on YouTube because like in order to subscribe to somebody, it's gonna, it's not that it. How should I put this? When you're going on somebody's YouTube channel, it's not like, on Instagram where you see a reel and then you just click follow, or you see on TikTok follow next to their name and you just follow them, or you go to their page and just quick follow and then you never see their stuff again. You follow like 3,000 people. YouTube, I feel like there's more of the stigma of like, not stigma, but it's the culture of those platforms, right? YouTube is more of like, I guess, focused people. They're kind of there to watch something, usually in long form, maybe short form. TikTok is like kind of the ADHD platform. It's like you just scroll and scroll and scroll. You're there for like hours and hours. Instagram's kind of that way too, but you can also do other stuff on Instagram. Like you can look at people's posts, you can post stories. There's more things to do on Instagram. However, there's also that idea of like just quick follow somebody. That's why I follow like 3,000 something people, and then on YouTube, it's like, I don't know. For me, it's when you subscribe to somebody, it's like you really like their stuff, usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm happy that you're starting your own podcast. But the question is, who are you going to bring on? Because my stuff is usually like, it's literally everybody. It's CIA, FBI, NSA, YouTubers, professors, doctors, Navy SEALs, journalists. Like, it's basically just Joe Rogan. So, who are you going to bring on?
Right now, I'm looking at specifically people who tell stories and like are interested in influence and know about influence, right? So that's going to be mainly storytelling creators and like marketers and stuff like that. That like people that really focus on storytelling and influence, because that's something that I've been learning, and I want to get better and better and better at that. Like it's selfish. I'm doing it so that I can get better at influence and storytelling. Long term, I'll probably broaden up, but like right now, I want to be the king of that bottle.
Well, it's funny you're mentioning that. I'll talk to you about this on the back end because it's something that I am pretty sure will interest you. But yeah, I mean, I think we did a pretty good episode so far. Any final words to the audience before I stop the recording? We talk a bit after the show.
Final words. Personally, my life is easier when I don't take it so seriously, and I really like to take it so seriously. And I think you should do your best, but don't beat the fuck out of yourself if you can't, right? And don't beat the fuck out of yourself if it doesn't work, because you're gonna fail a lot. And the better you get at failing, the better you get at winning. So I'd say that's my last words. Got to be okay losing.
All right, man. It was good having you on. I'm gonna stop the recording and I'll talk a little
bit. Thank you so much, George.
No problem. All right, I'm gonna stop recording here and